Come on in, everybody. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock. Where's your tea? Mine's in the living room. It was beside my chair, and Robert grabbed my cup and put it in the dishwasher. That's what happens when you have an empty dishwasher. People want to put stuff in it. The shirt's not doing right. Maybe I'll take my hair down. Take my hair down. Justin's been here all afternoon. They cut a tree, and he's got some wood in his truck. They ran out of wood this year. And you just never know when. And we've had our biggest snows in Western North Carolina in March. I've lived through two of them. One time we got like 36 inches. So we are not immune to snow in Western North Carolina in the month of March. You know, it comes in like a lamb and out like a lion. Well, it's the wind's been blowing for 2 days. It got down really cold last night. How could you heat your house if you didn't have firewood? So he told Robert he needed some firewood, and it's going to be a while before he could burn some scrag, some leftover, but he didn't put enough away. And you got to do it. Robert does something with firewood every single day. Let me see if I can get the chat up. I know I can. There we are. There we are. So I've been thinking about, when we get snowstorms like that, my mind automatically goes back to Little House on the Prairie. What in the world is that? What in the world is that? And Little House on the Prairie, they'd have blizzards, and I remember one time somebody got caught, and I read all the books as a third grader. Our teacher read them to us. I guess that's why I love to listen to books, because Miss Barton, she always read us the Little House on the Prairie books. When we were taking a little nap, we would lay down on the floor we had some pallets. I don't know where she got them from. I think she might have made them. They were just pieces of quilt she had cut up and had a little quilting in them, and we'd lay down on these pallets. And it was fun to you didn't really go to sleep, you just rested. Sometimes that's what 3 o'clock is all about, is just resting, just taking a little rest, to slow down, put your feet up, and just enjoy some quiet time. We need quiet time. Well, Robert and Justin were out in the back 40. We don't have 40 acres, but we call it the back 40. And they were back there, and I heard a big thud, so I knew they'd cut a tree. But I was just quietly working away and doing the things I need to do to get ready for tomorrow, to get ready for tomorrow. If you're getting ready for yesterday, you're behind the 8 ball. Anyway, I was just puttering away, just doing this and that, and had to reboot my computer one time, and then they get through and come in the house, and they're hot and sweaty. They've been using a battery operated chainsaw. If y'all don't have a battery operated chainsaw, it is one of the best tools you can own, because you don't have to try to start it. You stick the battery in and you turn it on. And even I've always been able to cut wood and split wood and do all that. But it's a good tool to have. Now, my son, one time we were going somewhere, and he said, y'all be sure and put the chainsaw in the trunk of the car. And we don't have a very big trunk in the car. And so we listened to him. He's a weatherman, and he knows when there's going to be high winds. And sure enough, we get home from wherever we've been. I don't know where we've been. And we pull in our driveway, and our cherry tree, a big limb of it, split. We couldn't get up our driveway. So Robert had the chainsaw in the trunk of the car. We cut up the pieces. I drug them off to the side, and we were able to get up the driveway. Now we could have gotten to the house, but we'd have had to leave the car down at the end of our driveway, and he doesn't like to do that. And we were prepared. Are you prepared for a bad storm to come your way? It can be all kinds of storms, and this is what tomorrow's all about at Fly Lady. It's plan and play day. And this morning we talked about where I keep my iron skillets. Well, I don't just have an iron skillet. I have two iron skillets that are 8 and 9 inch. I have a 6 inch that I like to make cornbread in. I have a 5 inch that I like to cook my eggs in. And I have a Dutch oven, and I have a griddle pan that was my grandmother's. And I don't know how I ended up with it, but I did. And art reminds me of her. And I have the tools to be able to cook in my fireplace, or to be able to cook outside if it's hot in the house. We have a tree house that we could cook in. We have a gas grill out there that has an eye on it. But I could cook on an open fire. We have a grate that we could put on an open fire. We have the grates that are in our ovens that we could utilize to put on an open fire. And we're ready. We could do what we needed to do. I have a big pan for boiling water, and I take it with me when I'm camping. Not that I've camped in a lot of years, but I used to keep a Rubbermaid bin that had my kitchen stuff for camping. And I didn't have to worry about anything. I'd have an ice chest with our groceries in it and this Rubbermaid bin, and I like to truck camp, y'all. I like truck camping because I want to take everything but the kitchen sink, and I have a collapsible thing that would be a kitchen sink. But I had a tub set up of all my camping gear, all my kitchen gear with paper towels, and they're good for, starting fires and different stuff. So I was ready. There's nothing worse than getting out to a campsite and not being able to build a fire because you forgot the matches. So every time I would come in from a camping trip, I'd restock everything. So being prepared, having things ready in the event of a storm. Like I said, we've had our worst snowstorms in March. And we're at March the 11th right now. March the 11th. Whew. We get through March, I think we're smooth sailing. But you never know when our power goes out, our stove doesn't work. We have a microwave that works. We have a wood stove in Robert's basement office. We have a fireplace upstairs. But if it's warm outside, we don't want to cook in the house. So we would cook outside. And I have battery operated, it's called a Jackery, that could do a lot of things like charge phones and charge stuff. But, a lot of times when the power goes out, cell towers don't work. There's just lots of issues. But there's a commercial on TV, and I don't even know what this commercial is for, y'all. I don't have a clue what this commercial's for. But it shows people being sucked in to their phones and their computer monitors. Just sucked in like they were a different kind of life. And I watched a video today. It was the strangest little animated video of people walking on the street looking down at their phone. You can run into traffic if you do that. So there's no truer symbolism of us being controlled by these phones. People used to talk about, going without electronics over a weekend. When's the last time you heard somebody do that? It's been a while. It has been a while. I do all my devotional stuff on my phone. I listen to my Bible on my phone. It's it's a it's not a Bible app. I don't really use a Bible app, but I have in Audible David Suchet who reads the NIV. I want to try to find the King James Version to listen to. But are you ready? Do you have the ability to cook, to feed your family? Just, I've talked about Beverly Nye's books. They're simple books, and you can get them on eBay and on Amazon. And they're not very expensive. They're like $2 or something like that. But these were essential. In the early 80s, late 70s, I found these books. I think it was like 77 or something like that. And she was teaching young women, which I was one of them, how to build a pantry. And there are lots of places on YouTube now that we can utilize to teach us how to build a pantry. Patera is one of them. Another one is Homestead Heart. Marie and her husband, Mr. H, they're amazing. Another great resource is Whippoorwill Hollow. She's in northeast Arkansas. Homestead Heart is in Georgia, and Patera is in East Tennessee, not far from Patty. In fact, she goes to Chattanooga shopping. Sometimes she goes to Knoxville shopping. And my grandson lives in Knoxville. So, y'all, these three people can give you some great advice on stocking your pantry. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen. You just don't go out and buy all the groceries you need. It takes several months of building your pantry. Now, I have a pantry in the basement. I have to be careful. It has to be in hermetically sealed containers. I have my pantry in upstairs. That's 3 cabinet doors. It's not a walk-in pantry or anything like that. And then I have a set of origami shelves, and that's the name of them, that will hold 2,000 pounds of stuff. And it's got appliances on it and pantry items. And we have slowly, over the years, gotten stock. Now, you got to remember, I've been preparing my whole life. I learned from Beverly Nye in the late 70s, early 80s, how to build a pantry. We grew a garden. I taught myself to can on an antique canner that belonged to my next door neighbor. And she let me use it. And she was precious. I didn't know how to do it, but I got my ball canning book out. I purchased one of those, and I learned how. I learned how to do it. And I was safe with this cannon on this screw top canner. Nowadays, I would probably do more drying of foods instead of canning, because canning heats your house up horribly. Now, the people at Cog Hill Farms, they they have freeze dryers. And they take a lot of energy to freeze dry because you got to get stuff down to the freezing temperature, and then it takes 24 hours to get all the moisture out. And they store things in Mylar bags, but those aren't you can't protect from rodents. So you got to put them in lard cans. We used to be able to get lard cans at our hardware store because people up here always did rendered their own hog lard out. I've seen it done. I've never done it. Aubrey learned to can from Patera. Knowing how to do it, and you're just doing it a few jars at a time. I would do probably, I have done as many as 7 quarts at a time, but you just, as the beans come in, green beans, different things. Now, Patera likes to do dried beans, but learning how to store your own fruits and vegetables. My granny used to dry apples. I don't know where she got her apples because she didn't have an apple tree. She had maple trees that dropped a lot of leaves, and we had a lot of fun playing in those leaves. But she would she'd peel these apples, slice up these apples. She'd core the apples, slice the apples up, and she'd spread them out. She had a little building on the side of her house she called the cistern, and it was an asphalt shingles on it, and they would get hot, and she would lay this cheesecloth over the top of it, lay the apples down, and lay the cheesecloth back over the top of it. And they were the best apples. They were so good. And then she would put them in a pillowcase. I think it was a pillowcase she made because it wasn't a regular size pillowcase. And she'd tie a knot in it and put it in the freezer. I don't know why she put it in the freezer, but she did. And I used to put dried beans in the freezer. I would buy a case of dried beans from the local cafeteria store, restaurant supply place. And I would get a case of these beans, and I'd make little bags for them and put them in the freezer. And you know what? It was good till the freezer went out and all my fruits leaked on them, and I ended up having to throw them out. But you see, you gotta learn to rotate the stock in and out and use it up from the new goes to the back, the old comes to the front, and you just start using it. And once a year, you go through it to see what needs to be used and make a plan to use it. So, y'all, are you ready for whatever comes? Storm, without power. We've been without power more for a rainstorm than for snow. We were out 3 weeks one time. Now, we're blessed to have a generator, but a generator doesn't work our stove. It doesn't work our heat. It runs our freezers, refrigerator, microwave, coffee, our entertainment system, and what else? Our water. Without the generator, we don't have any water because we have country water, and we do not have a pump because our well is like 500 feet deep. But it's good water. It's real good water. Do you have water stored? Sometimes we've woken up in the morning to no water, whether something went out on our well pump. We've had to have that replaced one time. You can't wash your hair without water. And so we've always got a couple of gallons stashed in the basement, got one upstairs that we could utilize for those sort of things. But we've got water. We've got a barrel outside that the gutter runs into that we collect water in. And do you have a way to light your house? I keep a bag of 200 or so tea lights on hand all the time. That's 4 hours of candlelight if you needed to use it. So, folks, being prepared is keeps you at peace. It really does keep you at peace. And it makes your life comfortable. Your home becomes this sanctuary. And all you have to do is, if you have some prepared stuff that you just put some hot water in and make some soups out of it, that's great. But you got to boil the water. You got to be able to boil the water. So, everybody, take some time to think about these things. Are you ready? Patera was talking about it today. And it doesn't happen overnight. But you can go to the junk store and find a cast iron pan, a skillet. You can boil water in it too. A Dutch oven, you can bake biscuits in it if you needed to. They might not be the prettiest biscuits. I've seen Patera bake biscuits on an open fire. I don't know why the link doesn't work, because it's the link. Go to the fly shop, go to our website. At the top of the page, you'll see fly shop on the right hand side of the page, and click on it and it'll take you to the fly shop. If you're getting our emails, the links are in all the emails. So y'all, be ready. Get ready. I mean, last year our motto for the year was get ready with me. Well, I've been ready, but I was going to teach you how to get ready. Now's the time to do it while everything's calm. We will never get the water bottles again. They are made out of stainless steel, and there were tariffs on them coming into the country, which threw the price way up. Susan, I'm proud of you for learning how to can. I have not a freeze dryer, but just a little, turn it on and let the fans run, drying utensil. I also have one I can hang up in a tree that zips shut. You're welcome. So y'all, start your plan and get foods that you think you'll eat. There's nothing. Robert grew up going camping trips with people that had a can of spam, some eggs, and some grape jelly. It doesn't get any better than that. How do you avoid botulism? By following the directions. Don't take any shortcuts. None. And use good lids. And always, when you've got canned foods, bring that to a full boil before you ever eat any of it, for at least 3 minutes. Y'all, you can do it. You really can. It doesn't take much. Just start buying 5 cans at the grocery store. Mainly, what you would need to know about sewing is how to sew a button, how to fix a hem that's messed up, how to fix a seam that's busted out of somebody's bottom, how to patch a knee, those sort of things, if we were in desperate situations. But y'all, nobody's going to come help you. When it's a storm, everybody's trying to help themselves. You got to be ready to take care of your family and anybody that can get to you if it's a snowstorm. Anyway, folks, tomorrow's plan and play day. We're going to talk more on this tomorrow. I'm going to have essays going out. Oh, wow. I've never heard of canning macaroni and cheese. Now, Marie at Homestead Heart has canned butter, and it has a 5-year shelf life. It's not recommended though, but she has done it, and I have watched her do it. I have watched her do it. So y'all be good, kind, and sweet. I love you all. I haven't heard from Jack today to see if he's got home from the hospital. I'm hoping we're going to get good. It's hope in my heart that we're going to get some good news. Yep, you have to do that. And you need a ball canning book, a recent one, because things change. You have to use a pressure canner for some things. You can use a water bath for other things, but you really need a pressure canner. If your mother had one and she doesn't use it anymore, get it from her. These are good things to have. I have new in the box, ready to go. Tomatoes don't need to be pressure canned. They can be water bathed. Anyway, if y'all get Beverly Nye's books, if you find them, she talks about everything about homemaking. And Proverbs 31 is all about taking care of your family. I love you all. I want to bring this full circle. The mother on Little House on the Prairie, she always had a basket that she sat by her chair, and she would pick that basket up, and it had stuff she needed to sew, socks that needed darning, breeches that needed a hem, needing a seam fixed. Learn how to use a needle. It's coming full circle back to how I grew up with this whole mentality of being prepared, because nobody was going to come and help you when you lived out on the prairie. I love you all. See you later. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock.